didn't have a college degree, and we went to high school together. So I reached out to him. We hopped on a phone call, and he explained to me the potential of real estate, how it works, how it's commission based, his plan for investing in real estate. And I really just dived all in. I mean, it took me a month and a half to do all of my coursework. I did it while I was in college. I took my state and national exam when I was during finals week. And when I came home in May, I got started at Keller Williams and Exton. That's how I got started in real estate.
By the way, what year was this? So everybody understands what time.
20 my first month was June of 2024 when I had like my license at KW.
So yeah, June of 2024 was your first literally entering the world of real estate during which is
Right.
chaotic time.
Technically last week of May, but I mean, I didn't do anything the last week of May. It started June. Yeah.
So you started a year and a half ago at an office, and you were doing tell everybody sort of about the open house journey and what brought you to open houses, and then what brought you to re-energize yourself on open houses.
So as you can imagine, the first 4 months did not go well. I was an independent agent. I wasn't on a team or anything. I was 19. Somehow looked even younger than I am right now. And then, I was completely solo. So I was like, how do I go and get my own business? That's a harsh reality that everyone faces when they get into it. It's like, oh, now I have to go find people that I can help buy and sell. So that's what I realized. And then I started door knocking, and I got kicked out of 6 neighborhoods, and I was sitting, 1 to 2 open houses a week, not doing it well, I might add, not doing the systems I have today. 4 months in, I got my first deal. It was a rental. I made $350 on it. The next few deals, there was a lady in my office. Her name was Debbie Hepler. She's amazing if you know her. And she saw me hustling, and she offered to give me her Zillow Flex leads. Now, I wasn't on our team, but it was still a lead source that I could work. I picked up the phone when Zillow would call. And that's how I got my first 2 deals, which were buyer deals. I watched my commission go from like $10,000 down to $2,800, but it was still, it gave me the confidence to go out and like really start getting business. So I did a few deals with KW, and then I was recruited by the current team I'm on now. Right. And then I started
why you found them, because there's a journey on how you connected with the person that you're working with, because people don't realize where you work, like the company you work with doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to anybody that your clients don't care. What it should be about how it affects you and your life and makes you better. So tell them how you found the company you're at. We don't need to talk about the company, but because it wasn't about the company.
So it wasn't about the brokerage. It was about the team lead. My team leader is Rob Lawrence. I'm very grateful to have him. He's like a very good friend to me. And he recruited me because he saw what I was doing on social media. I was posting on social media. I had a few deals under my belt, so he didn't have to train me from the ground up. And he basically said, wait, why don't we see if we can work together, right? And he was also a big real estate investor, and I wanted to learn how to, move money into real estate like I'm doing now. So that was what encouraged me to do it. And then the first 4 months I joined Rob, I put like 4 deals under contract. A few came from open houses, some were team leads. One was the past closing from my old office. So it really hit the ground running, and it was really good. And I realized that was the first time, it was November, I put someone under contract from an open house. I was like, wait, like I can actually do this. I can pull clients and I can put them under contract. And the key detail there was I was sitting good open houses now. It wasn't like I was finding stuff that are like 3-4 weeks on market and I just do a favor for an agent. It was like, no, this stuff was well priced, first week on market. People were coming into that door, and they were ready to buy. So, that.
Can we talk about that real quick? I want to pause you on that, because I think you got mentored. Let's talk about this. You got mentored by somebody who was doing open houses and knew how to do open houses, and you.
Oh, well, that came after.
Okay.
February.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, November, December were really good months for me. They were like my first 10K months. And I told myself once I make 10K, like I'm doing it. And I was. And then January and February, I wasn't putting anything under contract. And I looked back on my 2024 and I was like, okay, where did I get my business from so I can get more of it? And, some were team leads, some were Zillow Flex. And it's like, okay, what can I control here? Well, I can control the amount of open houses I'm doing. And I got a few deals from open houses. And then one day I was scrolling on YouTube and I saw a video titled "Realtor Sells 10 Homes a Month from Sitting Open Houses." I watched that video 3 times. And the guy on the video is now my coach. And I started off with an Instagram DM, like, I'm going to try doing what you're doing. And basically, he was just sitting, like, he did the 100 open house challenge in 100 days, and he had spectacular results from it, right? So I just started doing more. I just started sitting 4 to 6 open houses a week and getting super selective with the open houses I was sitting. And that's how this
Pause,
strategy. Yeah.
pause that. There you go. All right. So
Yeah.
that's what we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because when we spoke this morning, you had been doing open houses. You had done open houses. It wasn't like,
Right.
oh my God, I've never done open houses. But what you said, what I think no agents really pay attention to, is you have to be calculated with where you're doing an open house and what is your runway to doing the open house, but where you're doing it and how selective you are,
Right.
critical to not wasting your time and all the effort it takes to do it. So I want you to talk about what are the mistakes agents are making in all the effort they're putting into these open houses. We'll get to what you're doing right, but what do you
Yeah.
think the mistakes you made?
Well, the mistakes that most agents make is they focus on the wrong thing. Like they focus on like making 1 or 2 open houses the best open houses in the world. And it's like, no, I do like 4 to 6 a week. So the key difference is I focus on volume, and other agents focus on, just sitting the perfect open house. Right. I also focus on selecting good open houses that are well priced. My client avatars are first time home buyers. So like the open houses that are attracting first time home buyers, like those are the ones that I want to be sitting, the ones that are first week on market, the ones that are well priced, where my ideal client avatar is coming through the door.
Oh, we got to pause that because I think not everybody catches what you said. But what he's talking about is instead of just finding out, waiting for the office to say, hey, I need someone to host this open house that I just literally got this listing for last minute. And now I'm deciding, am I going to do an open house this week? He starts with who is the buyer that I would have show up at an open house?
Good. How
Who,
are you?
who's the person that I want to have actually be in the open house? Who's my avatar? And let me now go find the listings that are going to
Oh,
attract
no.
the avatar. Yeah, so make sure, like, I
Oh,
think the one
no.
thing that people don't focus on or think about, and I don't know who's not on mute.
I think Sharon had
Oh,
a question.
no.
I don't know. Someone's not.
I think Sharon's on the phone. I will try to mute her.
Okay, that's fine.
I
So,
have a question while you're figuring out
Hold
the
on one
muting
second.
though.
yeah, go ahead, Sharon. Go for it. What do you got?
I'm not Sharon, I'm Kim.
Oh my God, Kim, I can't see you right now.
No, I said while Jackie's fiddling with the muting. Can you
Kim,
see
you
me
are my
now?
partner in this, so you don't even have to ask. Go for it. What do you got?
So I think he's making really great points. And in terms of being selective, one thing that I've noticed, and I want to know if he's noticed this, is most people think, that hot new listing that's going to have people lined up around the block, that's the open house you want to host. But have you found that the ones that are too busy almost have the reverse effect because you don't have time to have any kind of meaningful conversations with people?
It's a good question, and I kind of like have I have a system that I weed people out of that's actually super simple. And I will say it's actually not true. The best open house I ever sat, I had like 100 groups through a weekend because I sat it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was a flip we did in Upper Darby, and I got 3 clients off of one open house that closed. Right, and here's how I did it though. Like here's how I weeded people out. I had a sign-in sheet. I make people sign in, name, phone number, email, agent name. If they put an agent name, I didn't bother them. I focused on the people who didn't put an agent name, the people who didn't have agents. And then it was question-based selling from there. How pre-qualified are they? Are they ready to move right now? Do they want to offer on this house right now? Okay, they want to put an offer on this house. How can I help them do that?
All right, so
Do you find that I'm sorry. So yeah, I was gonna say, do you find that most of your securing them as your client happens in the actual open house, or is it your follow-up after the open house?
In the beginning, it was all at the open house. Now I'm finally having people reach out and be like, hey, like, I remember this conversation we had, like, I know you've been sending me a few listings. Like, I'm ready to make a move. But it takes a while to get there. At the beginning, yeah, it was just, I converted them right there at that door. Setting up the appointment or setting up a showing or sending them to a lender to get pre-approved. It was finding out what step they were on and then taking them to that next step with you. And then you just keep going.
I love that you said it takes a while to get there. because most of the agents that are with us are like, it could be 10 years before we take a while to get somewhere. That's 10 years for us. Let's do this. We talked about organizing this session to do what do we do before to make sure we have things set up for the open house? What are we doing at the open house? What are we saying to people at the open house to bring value, which you said already, question-based preparation to get them to bring value to them? How can I hit the nail on the head on bringing them value at that moment that they need it? And then we'll talk about how are you nurturing the relationships of the people that need that longer term nurturing. So tell us, well, first of all, I guess you guys know this. He jumped into 100 open houses in 100 days. So I don't know if I made that clear in the beginning.
If you guys don't believe me, I documented
I
all
know
of
you
it.
did.
So
Oh,
just
yeah.
like go look up Sam Wells Realty on Instagram or Facebook. It's all there. Like I'm not lying. Like it's
I love
all
this.
there.
I love
Because
that.
Did you
I
have
knew
days,
people.
like, did
Yeah,
you do two in a day or was it one a day?
I both, and I would document. It was 100 in 100 days. So some days I would do 2 days, but yeah, I sat open houses on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I documented literally every single day because I knew people weren't going to believe me. So I was like, all right, I'm filming all of this, so no one can deny that it's like, I showed the house that I was at. I showed the price it was, the turnout, how many groups came in. Did we sign a client? Did we set an appointment? Did we send out an offer? Did we get someone under contract? And when I put someone under contract, I would screenshot the email and like block out the agent name and like the client name and would just say like, congratulations, thanks for all your hard work, Sam, and the date. So people knew it was like real. Like, I'm really big
I
on being
love
like authentic.
I love and hate that we live in a world of skepticism where we have to first have Sam try to prove to everybody that he's done what he has said he has done. The good news for you, buddy, we're in a trusting group here, so we can get past you proving it. I saw it already on social media. I know many of these people already did, and I was mesmerized and amazed by every second of it. All right,
We
Brandy.
believe it. We believe it. There's Brandy has her hand up. I just
Yes,
want to let you
okay.
know. Yeah, we
Perfect.
believe you, Sam.
Thank you, babe.
Thanks,
Brandy,
guys.
what do you got, Brandy?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. And I know that you were able to pick up a great deal of business, and that's amazing. I'm just curious, statistically, how many of the open houses did you sell? Like of the homes that you sat open? I'm just curious out of 100, just to because typically we don't sell the houses, right, that we hold open.
Four. Four people
That's
came in.
awesome. That's
They
awesome.
came in. And here's the thing. Like here's the cool thing. A lot of like the big argument is like people think like open houses don't sell houses. It's like okay, well, yes, the person who comes into the open house doesn't always sell the house, right? And I just made a video on this the other day. Like
Yes, you did.
I sat in an open house every single day on a listing until it sold, and two people came from the open house, and two people, like they didn't. The people who came from the open house didn't win the bid, but they put pressure on the winning offer to increase the purchase price. So by setting the open house, it actually still netted the seller more. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just like, in my opinion, they
That's not
absolutely,
another conversation, brother. I think that's
yeah.
part of this. And I'll tell you why. The reason to do open houses, there are two reasons to do open houses. We want to look our sellers in the eye and show them that open houses are a benefit to them to maximize what they're going to get for the sale of their house. And there is absolutely a benefit to bringing a group of buyers together in one world where everybody sees that there's a lot of buyers and interest, and you will get more money by doing open houses. But in addition to that, from a real estate perspective, you can create the win-win where these open houses provide you the seeds of opportunity when you do them the right way to meet the people as a professional and convert those opportunities, even if it doesn't sell the house. And I'm saying this because I'm not saying, well, open houses don't sell it and you only get it for agents to do business for each other, for themselves. No, there is a win-win that you can live in real estate where the open house is great for the seller and great for you to get more opportunities. So you can do both. I love that. So, all right, talk about in terms of the preparing for the open houses, like how did you decided where you were going to do them? Tell me about the journey to doing them themselves.
All right. When you're doing a high amount, like a lot of people cold call, a lot of people door knock. I got kicked out of so many neighborhoods, have been yelled at on the phones. I personally don't do it. You're more than welcome to do it. I don't do it. I have 6 to 10 really big A-frame signs that stick out like a sore thumb in the street, and I that's how I direct people to the open house. I obviously also make sure it's in the MLS a week before the open house happens. And that way, it's on sites like Realtor, Zillow, Redfin. They can see the open house sign. Zillow, like these sites even have filters where they can see homes just with open houses, right?
Yep.
So I would say like 50 to 60% of the traffic that comes from open houses, the people saw it on like one of those websites. Another 20%, the realtor sent them from the open house. And then like another 20, 30% is actually the signs
Okay.
that I put out.
Does anybody have any questions before I don't even want to move on yet, but does anybody have any questions about like how he prepares ahead of time for the open houses? And it's cool what he's saying. It's funny. Like the old school way of doing this is like what he's saying he doesn't do. I love the fact that he doesn't say, I'm not going to do one open house and try and perfect it by doing all of these things and all this stuff for one open house. I'm going to do 4 of them. I'm going to do 4 of them because that's going to maximize my opportunity to meet most of the people. And we joked about this earlier because real estate isn't work. We're not physically doing a whole lot of work. He was joking with me because an open house, if it takes 4 hours out of his day to do an open house, what other job can you go where you work for 4 hours and you have the opportunity to make as much as you can make by doing it the right way and meeting people? So does anybody have any questions about what he does beforehand and what has led to him doing 100 open houses before we get to how do you actually execute the open house? Get Brittany.
My apologies. I can't put my camera on. I'm driving.
Okay, I don't want you to put your camera on.
Yeah, and I apologize if I missed this part. I'm more curious. How do you get the open houses? I don't know. I know you're in a different office. I'm just curious. Like, is it? I'm assuming you're hosting open houses that are
It's
other
funny.
people's listings.
It's so funny. Mike's on this call. I was gonna give Mike a call today to see if I could sit his open house this weekend.
Flatley?
Yeah.
Flatley's gonna be joining us for a whole nother reason later.
I literally, Mike's social media is off the charts. It's like,
yeah, he's the
it's
greatest.
awesome. But yes, I mean, for starters, like I have a team, so I have my own listings and then I have my team's listings, so I try to go for those. And then I have listings within my brokerage, and then I try to go for those. Then I have agents all over the place, and then I try to sit opens for them. And then if I can't find anyone, then I actually do cold call agents and I try to set open houses for them.
So let me do this. Let's ask this. I know there's a lot of agents that go, I don't have the listings yet. I'm in an office that might have opportunities. What would you do to find the open house that you want to do? Like, how would you source the open house? What would be your way to do it?
I would go onto the MLS and then I would cast a big net, and then I would look at the stuff that's coming soon and active, and call the agents one by one down the list and ask them to sit open houses. Well, technically you can sit open houses for other brokerages as long as you have broker to broker commit permission, but no one really cares.
No.
I probably shouldn't say that, but
you guys heard that, right? Did everybody hear that?
So, but hold on, you got to be careful because my office just had a memo come out saying that we are actually not allowed to have agents outside our brokerage host for us, and we are not allowed to host for agents outside our brokerage either, because even with the broker to broker permission, it becomes an E&O exclusion, and it's a little bit too risky. So you do have to check. I'd say to be careful, check with that person's brokerage or your brokerage, as long as both of them say it's okay. But like, we didn't realize that. And I was doing the same thing. I was having agents in the city host, my Manayunk listing, because people in my office, didn't want to go to Manayunk. And so apparently now that's a little less straightforward than that.
I would be furious at my brokerage if they prohibited me from increasing my business by not letting me sit other open houses.
Yeah, that was why I was asking. So anyone who's from the Keller Williams Doylestown office, you may not do that.
I heard that. Yeah.
It's a legality thing, but that's why I was curious if you had an office that had all those listings, or because it just seems so awesome to do 100. I just was wondering, how is that possible?
Well, I mean, then you can still do it for sure. I mean, you're just going to be sitting open houses that are longer on market.
The one thing that I want to hit home with here is regardless of how he's finding the open houses, what he's doing is being critical, even to the point of finding open houses outside of the purview of his office, if that's legitimately can be done between the two offices, because he's focusing on his avatar buyer, not on just doing an open house to a price range or what's just generally available to him. He's saying, no, I need to find the avatar listing that's going to find my avatar buyer. And I think that's the answer everybody needs to make sure they focus on, which is be critical of who do you think is going to be the buyer that's going to show up at the open house. And if it isn't the buyer that you're the best at, why are you doing it? Lucas, what do you got? Give me a question. My friend Lucas,
so
my buddy Lucas.
Sam, first of all, bravo, man. Congrats to you. It takes a lot, especially as a new agent, a young agent, to have confidence and go after something. And not only that, but slot yourself to a niche where you can build your business like that. So kudos, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
My question is because Adam addressed specifically like preparation for one. My question is, one, do you have an ideal time of which, not time of day per se, but length of which you run the opens? Do you find it more effective? I know agents that
Such
cut
a
them
good
short
question.
to an hour and find that of value. And then if you're looking for numbers, maybe do you extend them? Like it might depend on how many you do. So that was my A question. My B question is, what I train my agents on is having a little bit of market knowledge of the area of where that house is prior to. Because if you can't sell them on that particular house, which you know how many houses we have and buyers we have for those houses, do you have a set inventory in your head of what's around that house going into it to sound knowledgeable and convert further?
Yes.
Both are absolutely. Yeah, both are really good questions. The short answer is yes. I always have an idea of the inventory that's around me. And I also I feel like I've gotten so much market experience. Like I kind of just know what's around, I've taken so many
Do
buyers out.
anything enough. Yep.
Yeah, and then so you're absolutely right. But before I didn't have that, yeah, I would go on Zillow and I would see everything around. And what you can also do is you can go and you can look at expireds and canceled listings. And then you create off-market opportunities for the people coming in. To answer your other question though about when's the best time to sit it, Saturday's the best time. All right, let's first rank the days. Best day to do it: Saturday, second best Sunday, third best Thursday, and fourth best Friday, in my opinion. Best times to do it. On the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, I like to sit 2 a day because those are the best days to sit open houses. So I sit 1 11 to 1 and 1 to 2 to 4, 1 2 to 4. And I do the same thing on Sunday. And that gives people enough time if they're, waking up that will give them enough time to get out there. And then on Thursday and Friday, I like to do twilight open houses. And I don't know, it's like 4 to 6, 5 to 7, those times. And I used to do them in 2 hours. I think you can get away with an hour and a half. I actually think that's a sweet spot. But when I tell other agents yeah, can I sit it for an hour and a half? They have a weird reaction to it. I think 3 hours is way too long, way too long. I think 2 hours is good. I think 1.5 is the sweet spot.
Can I ask, how much time are you putting into researching the listing you're going to do in preparation of the open house?
I look at all the comps, so I know how well it's priced. I also make sure I know if it has any offers in hand. And then I look at everything around that's currently active, because most people, when they're walking into the house, they do want to look at another house, or this house might not be the one for them. So I always have that knowledge in the back of my head of okay, well, you don't like this one because of the layout, but this one next door has a really nice open layout that you guys would love, and it has the pool that you're looking for. You know what I mean? So that's usually it. I read through the info sheet, I read through the seller disclosure, so I can, and at this point I'm pretty well versed in all the systems of the house, so I can talk about it. And people really appreciate that. You can take people, it's do you guys want me to give you a private tour? And then you walk them through the house, and then you explain all the key components, and they find a lot of value in that.
Okay.
Especially first-time home buyers.
Oh man, all right. So we're not going to hit the nail on the head yet, because I want to make sure we get the questions, but we're going to come back to value. So Jackie, make sure I come back to value, please, because I'll forget, because Jackie, the wife, is going to be on top of making sure I come back to the important things. I don't know, BR Junior, I don't have a name, so I want to make sure. Brian.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got you. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. First of all, thank you, Sam, for all the information. It's very helpful, and you like really an inspiration. So,
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask, do you prepare differently for a luxury property versus just a normal property? Because I don't know.
Actually, a really good question. Um, I personally like don't really set anything a million plus. I've just found like the higher you go in price points, they usually have an agent. Like think
They're
about
not
it, if
your
you're like,
avatar. They're not your avatar. Let's just say it.
so I don't really know, to be honest, because I don't really set anything a million plus. That's just yeah. Yeah, Adam hit
It's
it.
weird because I think honestly in real estate we get attracted to doing the open house at the big shiny object because we want to go on social media and have a video and a picture of us doing an open house and that's going to attract $1 million buyers. But in reality, maybe we focus on the buyers that are our avatar that could create our future business and maybe it's not the $1 million buyer. So I love that you answered it with I don't know because we have to be able to do that sometimes. All right. I'm going to get back to value now because I do want to hit the next phase of this.
Mhm.
I genuinely believe, and what we talk about in the coaching group is if you're going to do an open house, your goal at the open house doesn't have to be to get these people to meet you and you're a random stranger. And by the time you leave the open house, they don't have to say, oh my God, that's my real estate agent. I'm hiring that person and they're my right person. When I at any point if I whenever I'm doing open houses or ever I'm even talking about it, I think the way to actually get the most business from open houses is to have one goal. How am I going to bring some bit of value to this person? And I better have, if I'm going into doing the open house, I better have an arsenal of value that I can provide of 50 people and have different reasons why I can help. Oh, for you, you're a first time home buyer. I'm bringing you value this way. Oh, you're this. I can bring you value this way. All the way to, and I don't know if you do this, and I hope you do, all the way to the point that if they come into the open house and they say something like, you know, I don't live anywhere near here and I'm about to go get lunch, that you know without even thinking about it, oh, you got to call this restaurant or you got to go to this restaurant for lunch because, and by the way, when you call, just ask them, they'll get an appetizer for free because like getting ahead of value for people in a million different ways. And the only way you're going to convert business from open houses is if they walk away and they want you to actually reach out to them. And if you're doing a sign-in sheet, they're not going to give you real information if they don't want you or have a reason for you to reach out because you're bringing them value. So tell everybody, what is your toolkit for bringing value to people when they show up?
There's actually two really golden lines that I use. I don't really like get into scripts, but there's two really good lines that I use to help prepare me to like figure out what direction someone's going in. First one, when someone walks into the door, I ask them, I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm Sam. Are you a neighbor or are you just shopping around? If they're a neighbor, they're a nosy neighbor. They're a potential seller. If they're shopping around, which 90% of them say, they're obviously looking to buy, right? And usually they're first time home buyers for me. So, all right, cool. I know if you're a potential seller or a potential buyer just from that line, right? And that's going to gear your conversation. And then the second thing, like after a little bit of small talk, I usually tell them at some point, and let's say I'm talking to Adam, like, just real quick, I just want you to know, and this is if you're not the listing agent, right?
Yes.
Adam, I just want you to know, like, I'm not the listing agent or the seller of this property. I'm actually our team's buyer specialist, and I'm doing a favor for the listing agent. And I'm just telling you that because you're not hurting my feelings if you don't like this house. And that is the best line that I've learned, and it completely disarms people. They laugh actually, like every single time they laugh. And by the way, like it actually makes them more likely to buy the house because they realize they're like, okay, like he's here to help. He's not here to just sell me this house. When people walk into that open house, guys, they think you're there to sell them that specific property.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you. The best part about this business is like you don't have to sell that property. I mean, you want to; it's easy, but and like I said, it actually increases the chance of you selling that property if you use that line. But
do you want to know how this is working, by the way? I don't know. I'm going to ask you blindly if this happens to you, but I have to imagine it does.
Yeah.
I actually started doing open houses and having no sign-in sheet. And the reason why I didn't have any sign-in sheet is I wanted at the end of the open house, before they left, for them to expect me to send them something. And if I could get them to say, hey, could you send me whatever it is?
Exactly.
Then I'm going to get relevant, real information because they want me to send them something. So my question
So
is, yeah, go ahead.
here's what I do, and I completely agree. I don't bring business cards. I'm like,
No.
yeah, I passed them all out. Let me send you my virtual card. What's a good
Yeah.
number? I get their phone number every single time. And I've gotten to a point after every single conversation that I've had, they're either asking me for my card or they're giving me their agent's name
Yeah.
to like go and like talk to their agent. They're like, okay, he knows this stuff. I use the sign-in sheet.
Let me ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing it the right way. I'm assuming we're going to get into exactly how you're building that rapport with people, because you're not going to convert to 9 deals from open houses a month if you're not actually genuinely building rapport. How many times are you having people are filling out the sign-in sheet and then you're talking to them and then they're coming back later and go, you know what, just so you know, I gave you the wrong phone number and I gave you a fake email address because you
All
had
the
a
time.
sign-in sheet, but I'd actually like to give you my real phone number. My name is not Mickey Mouse and my email is not mickeymouse@mickeymouse.com. And so I actually did do open houses, sign-in sheets, because I was sick of getting fake phone numbers and fake emails. So how are you getting people that are doing that?
So I use the sign-in sheet as a tool. If they go in and then like first of all, if they go into the open house and they it kind of like rush by me and then they go to the sign-in sheet and write their name, write their email, and write their agent's name, like they don't really want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But I don't make people sign in. And if they do and they give me the wrong number, yeah. But that's something I learned. So like before when I text them, I was like, hey, can you just like the text or like confirm that you got it? And then I'll hear the little ding on their phone. I'm like, all right, I got their text. Also, you can use Forewarn. Forewarn is an amazing tool. So I make sure they have the right phone number. All of a sudden, I know how to spell their name correctly. I know how to spell their last name correctly. It gives you so much information. It's a great tool.
It's baffling to me because now look, maybe I'm an old man and I'm thinking about open houses back in the day where I would literally go get balloons and spend all morning struggling with balloons and signs to put balloons out and having a sign-in sheet and remembering how wrong I did it, where I thought the sign-in sheet was my follow-up and that was my avenue to follow up with people, when in reality that sign-in sheet is only a tool you're using to say, is this someone that might even want me to talk to them before I even started? Because if I'm like Kim was talking about, how do you have 100 people come to the open house? Well, you have a tool that weeds out the people that aren't going to want to talk to you. And then you just find the people that are piling past you who you see value. Keep going. Go.
Well, super pro tip too. If there's like another group in the house and they hear you like having a great conversation with the other person, they actually really want to talk to you. Like, oh, he's nice. He's like genuine. Like, we'll talk to him. That's something I just learned. You learn so many things. You just pick up. You just get a ton of swings at bat.
We're going to talk about that. That's what we're going to finish with, swings at the bat.
Adam, just so you know, Mike also raised his hand
Yeah,
just now.
Mike had a
Oh,
question.
I'm making Mike wait, baby. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay, sorry.
I see him. I'm making him wait. He's going to wait. I'm just kidding. Mike, I'll get you 1 second. But like literally, the fact that you don't have to do 10 years of open houses to figure out how to do it. You do 100 in 100 days and you figure out what makes people tick. But I do want to hit home that, and he's breezing over it a little bit, these people meet him at an open house, and because he's properly prepared and practiced and he comes off like a genuine professional, people want him to follow up with them. They see excitement when he's about to reach out to them, and we're less likely going to get fake information and fake things because you're doing the most important thing. You got to meet people and bring them value, and then let them want to hear from you. And that's what you do. All right, Michael. First of all, guys, if you guys don't I'm going to do this, buddy, because I'm going to have to. If you guys don't know who Mike Flatley is, you need to go on Instagram right now and start to learn how this person gets his genuine self out there. And so he's going to be on with us at some point. I'm going to beg him to join us to talk about what he is great at. But Mike, what do you got as a question? Because I can't imagine what question you have for this young man.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Thank you for putting this together. And Sam, dude, you're a freaking rock star. Good work on this. You're a huge inspiration to all of us, and it's really, really great stuff. My
Thanks,
question
dude. You
for you
too.
is, thanks, man.
No.
Appreciate it. My question for you is two things. First is that when I've done open houses before, like, and it's super crowded, and even if I do have a sign-in sheet, how do you manage that? Because your people are kind of coming in and out there, and like if literally there could be 7 to 10 different groups in the house at once. How do you
Yeah.
manage trying to get in front of as many people as possible? Because I have situations where like I'm having a fantastic conversation in the kitchen, and essentially I have my eye on someone that it sounds like could be even a better fit. And one way is managing that, and then the second is, and just speak on this is like how do you come across I think it's so interesting you don't even have a sign-in sheet or business card. So like, and I respect that, but how do you come across like engaging but also not too pushy? Because a lot of times when they come in, you have a little initial conversation, they walk through the house and they stop down, hey, this house isn't for me. What are you saying that doesn't come across too pushy to truly engage them to actually build that rapport in such a short period of time?
It's a really good question. And honestly, Mike, I mean, sometimes it's just hard, man. I mean, you and I both get it. Like, 7 people through the house. There's people who walk in and walk right out. Like they scurry out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, if you want to, I actually do bring in sign-in sheets. If you're having open houses that busy, some trick you can use, I would put a sign on the door, just tape it on the door that says, please sign in. Like, welcome, please sign in.
Okay.
But I really I mean, the key is to try to figure out like if you can work with them. Like if you're in a conversation and they're mentioning their agent, it's like, yeah, just have your agent reach out to me and like move on to the next person directly, because you got to focus on the people that you can build those relationships with. It's not worth going after someone who already has an agent.
Sure.
Whatsoever. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And then as far as like, it's just building curiosity. It's just
Yeah, good.
It's just building curiosity that makes people want to talk to you, right? So it's like, figuring out who they are. It's like, well, you don't like this one, but I have another few deals popping up in the area. Like, what were you looking for? It's like, oh, he has access to off-market deals. A big one for me, I have a lender who's super cheap, right? So like, I'll talk to them. It's like, yeah, what rate are you getting? They're like 6. I'm like, my guy's at 5.6.
That's great. Yeah.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
Seriously, like you got to find the tools that like make them curious. They're like, how's he doing that? Like, how does he have those off market deals? How does he have a lender that cheap? And like case in point, I have a client I'm working with right now. He remembered how cheap my lender was. He reached out. He's like, do you have that lender? And then the lender got him pre-approved. And then I'm working with him and we're shopping right now. So it's it's just finding points that
and you're really
make
just
them
showing
interested.
value. So for me, it was like initially I was trying to maybe just like show information about myself, but the truth is you're providing other opportunities and a fantastic lender and providing instant value, and they're going to want to learn more about you.
Yeah, and don't
something
beat yourself up on like you're a talented agent, and they've probably heard of you, but you're not going to get it perfect every single time. I would say most of the people I don't get it perfect with, they're weird. They're just weird. They come in and they're like, I'm like trying to talk to them and they're like ignoring me, and I'm like, okay, like you want to like another secret? Like I drink a nitro cold brew before open houses. It makes me very talkative and allows me to smile a lot.
A lot of energy. Love it.
Seriously, that's it.
So I want to hit home with something that I heard there that I want to make sure everybody hears. One, none of this is perfect. Like you don't do open houses and then go say, I know how to do the perfect open houses. I'm pretty sure a large percent of open houses that we all do don't get the results we want. What this young man has figured out is that sometimes you just got to do more and more and more of them and get the results you want, even though they're not perfect. And then most importantly, what I'm hearing is like, these people have to want for you to follow up with them when you're meeting them in the open house. And one thing that hit home with what Mike said, and I want to keep saying it, we do open houses and we're so interested in getting opportunities that we feel we have to sell who we are when we're doing open houses. And that's what's going to get them to want us to follow up with them and work with them. And in reality, they don't care who we are. They only care what value are you bringing me and how are you going to help me? And they'll figure out who you are over time.
Something else that's really important that I haven't talked on is like I track all my stuff. So I know that like every 6 to 7 open houses I sign a client. And when you know that, it's super motivational. It's like, oh, if I just go sit 7 open houses this week, I'm going to sign a client. And our goal here is to sign clients. I mean, Adam and I were talking about it this morning. Our goal is to just keep booking interviews, right? So yeah. So yeah, like obviously I don't get it perfect at every open then, right? Like if it takes me 6 to 7 opens, but also think about that. Like I feel like I'm pretty good at what I do and I like, I have a system down. But think like if I'm doing well and you're only sitting 1 open house a week, it's going to take you 7 weeks to sign a client, right?
I love this. This is what people don't do. They think they're not getting results, so they do less.
And that's for anything, if it's cold calling, if it's Mike posts fucking awesome videos, I'm sure he gets a lot of, I would expect him to get business from that. Like just figuring out like what activity are you doing? How much of that activity do you need to do? I was able to track like how much money I'm going to make this year just on like how much open houses I'm sitting, like that's it's super motivational.
All right, so I want to hit home with this for me also, and how I'm looking at myself, and my world wasn't open houses in how I got my business. My world was my partner finding a way to getting 150 to 300 internet leads a month, and my opportunities came from sitting in a phone booth, responding to those phone calls to people that wanted to see 123 Main Street, and I needed to convert to buyer appointments. But we are so much alike in this way. Most people, when they're doing those internet lead phone calls, if they don't get the results, they do less phone calls. What I would do is I just have to make 1 million more phone calls to get my results. I would just plug away at 1 million phone calls until I got my results. Same way where you go, look, if I'm not getting results from open houses and I'm doing 1 a week, then I'm going to do 4 a week until I get the results that I need to get from the open houses, which I don't think we do in real estate. I don't think we're willing to put the time in, which is crazy because this person has found a way to put a lifetime's worth of experience into open houses by just dedicating and committing 3 months. I can't even think about this. Everybody talks about 100 days. 3 months, he can sit here and speak intelligently, where I would want him to help me buy a house. I'd want him doing my open houses. I would want this person who has way less annual experience than any of us, but way more experience at this thing than anybody else. And so I'm just honored that you're joining us, but grateful that you're finding a way to share it with us. Other questions? Lucas, what do you got? Give me another question.
Yeah, I just had not a question, just a quick comment. The fact that, right, when we were talking about expired phone calls and cold calls and how I'm sure many of us don't enjoy that process, but everything I was ever taught about a phone call for a cold call or anything like that, what is your goal? Your goal is to stay on the phone for the least amount of time and get an appointment, set an appointment and get in front of that person. And an open house is the biggest shortcut to that. And that's where you're going to make your impression. So again, I think Alex figured out a great mousetrap, a great way to do it, and a great way to convert leads. So,
Sam, I want to share a story with you if you don't mind, because I think I've shared this story with some people, but man, it's one of the biggest impacts my entire life in my real estate career happened at an open house. And it literally paints a picture that I think that everybody kind of needs to hear on what can happen in an open house and how we react matters. I had an open house way early in my career. I was probably a year and a half, 2 years into my real estate career. I was doing open houses, maybe not doing it the right way, but I was trying my best. And a guy named Kevin came into my open house. And he was one of those that came in and hated realtors. So he was not signing a sign-in sheet. In fact, he said, "I fucking hate realtors," were the first words he ever said to me. I don't mind. It's my thing. I can curse wherever I want. So I remember them distinctly, that it happened on Glen Avenue in Bensalem. I remember the house. I remember the moment. I remember him saying to me, "I fucking hate realtors." And I could have just left it at that and just said, "Go ahead about the open house," and moved on. Somehow I was able to show him, "Well, man, can I be a different realtor than man?" Sorry, you know what I did? I asked him questions about why he thought realtors were bad and what was his experience about realtors. And I got to the crux of that. Not all realtors are bad. The realtor that he'd been dealing with was bad. And I left that, not giving him a business card, not giving him anything about my information. And 2 weeks later, Kevin called me and I helped him and his wife buy their house together. But even more crazy, and the reason why I tell this story, because that happens a lot. I helped him buy his house. And 4 years after that, I got a call from Kevin. And Kevin was in the hospital with his wife, and Kevin was dying. he had days left to live. And Kevin was with his wife at that hospital talking about how they were going to plan what was going to happen with the house now that he was going to be gone. And they're at that point. And Kevin called me to make sure that I was going to be there to help her when this happened. And if you think about the open houses we do, that we breeze over people that we meet who curse us out or don't give us the time of day. And I think about Kevin and think about the fact that I could have just said, real estate agents are assholes, and I could have just said F you and moved on. But we can handle these situations with everybody by just finding out in curiosity why, and then bringing value, and then not selling them something, not pushing something, but just bringing value to the point where these people can call you on their deathbed. All right. What else? What do you got to say? Everybody have any questions while I get myself back in order? But I wanted to share that because that's an open house story that we can have over and over and over again. I know Sam, if he does this the right way, is going to have a lifetime of people that are going to have start and met him at an open house. And because he brought them value and he was genuine and he didn't push himself as a salesperson, and he was willing to do 100 in 100 days, that he's going to have a lifetime of opportunities. His career is going to fly past all of us because of his willingness to do it that way. So I just wanted to share that story with you because I wanted you to hear it. What do you got? What else do we got to talk about? How about after open houses?
And I just want to let you know there's a couple of questions in the chat that have been popping up around forewarn and
missing it.
yeah, so that's why I raised my hand just to call attention to that.
Why do you do this? What I want to get to, by the way, Sam, is I want to get to what you're doing after open houses, because I think we get done in the open house, we're tired and exhausted, and I want to talk about what your process is afterwards. What am I missing in comments? Jack, do you want to just read it to me because I can't get to it?
There's some back and forth. If you can elaborate on forewarn, the app.
Go ahead. Talk about forewarn, bud.
Forewarn is great, but it's not for everyone. So I think there's a few agents that are in different states. Like Forewarn is with our Tri-County Suburban Association of Realtors. I still don't know why I pay them, but they do give you Forewarn. I'm just kidding. No, they give you Forewarn. It's a super helpful tool. Basically, it's that's important.
What you're doing is trying to make sure you also have relevant, good information when you're actually reaching out to people without struggling through the fake information. What other we got? Any other questions that I'm missing, Jack?
There was just one other question I see here. How do you show your value to listing agent to give feedback to the seller?
Let's do that.
Great question.
Yes.
Number one, I try to sit open houses that are vacant, so we're not kicking any sellers out. That way we're just marketing the house and letting everyone, it's just added value, in my opinion. But yeah, number two is I basically explain how it went, and it's great for the seller because you get real live feedback of what they thought of the open house. Are we priced too high? Is this, what's the feedback? What do we not like about the house? And the seller can and the seller and the listing agent can work together to pivot and make changes, I found that my sellers really appreciate the amount of hard work that I put in, especially like the guy, I sat in open house for every single day for a week. Like, he was very appreciative of that.
I'm pretty sure everybody in this group, if they had the opportunity to have you do one of their listings open houses, they'd be pretty happy to have you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to represent you in the best way possible. Like, I've done so many. The reason that people say no to me is because they don't know me. I think if they knew me, they'd be like, oh yeah, go ahead and let me know how it goes.
All right. So here's what we got to get to next. And we're going to go over, if you have some time, I hope everybody's okay with this, but we're going to go over because there's another part of this that we have to talk about, because we sit there and do the open house and you got a whole bunch of information and you got a lot of people you made a promise to and values to, and you're like, okay, I told this person this and I told that person that and I did this and that. How do you bring it all together to make sure you're actually effectively following up?
Yeah, and I also just free value for you guys. You guys can follow me at Sam Wells Realty, on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's all there. And I put it in the chat because I'll send them and I can maybe send it to you too, Adam. I put a follow-up script together. If you guys want it, if you want things to text people. But what I do immediately after they come into the open house, I'm usually sending them my virtual card. And people hate doing this, but I do it every time. We're in sales. Like, I don't care. I send them a video of me talking at my phone like this. And I'm like, Adam, thank you so much for coming by today. I really appreciate you stopping in. It was so nice, meeting you guys and your family. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. And I'll let you know about that off-market opportunity I had coming
Who
up. There
told
was
you to do
something.
that? Where did you hear that from? You know, I don't know.
I definitely heard it from you. I mean, what you
know
do is
you
with the
did.
birthdays,
Yes.
Yeah, I still implement
We're
that
not
too.
doing private personal video messages for everybody we meet as fast as possible. You are
Yeah.
making a mistake because you're not becoming a human being. I love that that's your first.
Here's the reality. Like, guys, if they're looking for a house, Zillow agents have tried contacting them. They've walked into other open houses where agents have tried contacting them. Like, there's a lot of competition. It's not hard. I can toss a rock and find a realtor, So, if you really got to stand out is the point that I'm getting at here. And yeah, I shoot them
You're
a
not
follow.
sending automated. You're not sending the same video message to everybody that says, "Hey, you."
No.
Yeah, no. You're saying, and maybe are you connecting with something they may have said, like it was great meeting you and talking to you about this?
Yeah. For example, one time I was at not long ago. There was a house, and in the garage, it had like this old Mustang, and the dude was obsessed with the Mustang. So I took a video with the Mustang behind me in the background. Like, it's the little things like that make you stand out.
Man, you're learning from some good people on how to stand out. All right, so
Yeah.
are you using a CRM to get these people into a CRM?
Yes, I use Follow Up Boss.
How are you getting them into the Follow Up Boss? Like, what is your process of going? You're on a piece of paper, and you are getting into my CRM. How do you do that?
I forewarn it to check all the information, and then I use the forewarn information. The difficult part of having like the written in sign-in sheet is like everyone's handwriting is so bad. So I try to check it on forewarn. Usually I can't read the email though, so like you kind of need to find a way to get the email later on. But I think the most important piece of contact information you can have is calling someone. Like, being the phone number is probably the most important there. So
you guys hear this? He's not using like some massive open house technology where his sign-in sheet is an app on an iPad. He's still doing it and still converting people because they're giving him real information, not fake information all the time. I'm sure you're getting a bunch of fake sometimes, but we're getting real information with a plan of value to bring them. So you're putting them into Follow Up Boss. Are you setting a task or some sort of follow-up? Are you putting yourself in a position where you don't have to remember things? How are you? Because you can't convert 9 deals a month from open houses and remember anything. So how are you making sure you don't have to remember the work you have to do to follow up?
So one key follow-up that I always make that I log in is a few days later, I actually text them a house and I list the pros and cons of the house for them based on the conversation we had. Right. So I send like 1, 2, 3 Main
based
Street.
on the conversation you had. I want to make sure everybody hears that.
Right. I was like, this is what I really like about this house for you guys, and this is what I don't like about this house for you guys. Right. And I just send it to them. And that's like a really good point of value for people. Or I'll mention an off-market deal that I have that I know of that they would get value from, basically.
What I think you figured out and mastered, my friend, and I think you're going to only get better at this is if we're great at listening, then people will actually want to work with us. And if we're great at listening and bringing value, then we will actually hit the nail on the head for what they need when they need it. And when you said, I send a video personally to them, or I respond in specifics to what they said, I think, or people want the easy way out. So they're like, oh, I send 1, 2, 3 Main Street to everybody that came to my open house 2 days later. And I send everybody the same property, making it seem like I found that property specifically for them. And everybody can read your fakeness. Instead of, no, I actually listened to what they said in the conversation and I find a property that would or maybe not work for them. Listening is the skill that you have figured out, my brother. Like, you have figured out how to do it with more effort than anybody else can do, but then not just doing it without results, doing it and tracking. And I'm going to work for you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm deciding now I'm going to work for you at some point.
It's fun, man. We have a good time. You know.
Does anybody else have any other questions? 'Cause I know we're running long and I don't want anybody to be held up if they have questions. Does anybody else have any questions? Nicole, I know you went off mute.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to find out how you're keeping track of these conversations, because if you have one sign-in sheet, how are you keeping track of Bob wants a 4-bedroom with a pool, but not a walkout basement? You know, how are you keeping track of all that?
I just put it in my notes app. I have my notes
So
app open. I just type it in there.
like in your phone?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I think, guys, like the most important part about everything I'm saying is like sitting a lot of open houses. Alex Hormozy said it best. He's like, just do more. And that's what I did.
By the way, I have a little thing that I do. Maybe, man, I can't believe there's no way I'm going to add to the mix here, but your CRM should be on your phone and be able to access your CRM without having to go back to your computer. So if I'm doing an open house or even meet someone at my kid's soccer game, I can put that person into my CRM, voice in every single thing we talked about, and then set myself a task in to follow up with that person and then move on to the next person in the open house. So literally get on your phone, say, oh, just give Sam Walls phone number, email address. I spoke to Sam for 5 minutes. I got to give him value in this way, set a task for me to do it, and then move on.
Yeah, Adam, I want to talk to you. Like, we'll talk about this on a separate call, but I just got a new CRM too called Mailbox Power, where I send mail out, and I spend, that's like taking it to another level of like sending mail, sending gifts. The stat that scares me the most is that like 70% of their agents or 70% of clients don't use the same agent again.
Oh, it's more.
Yeah, it probably is.
I speak.
That's the scariest stat I know.
All right, so let's talk about that. So there's 87% of people do not use the same agent to buy their second house or sell their first house. They don't use the same agent. And it is some people that move out of their area or have an agent that's not in the business anymore. But how in the world is even 50% of the people you're helping through buying or selling real estate even going to ever consider somebody else? That's what we do. We have to find a way to make sure they never consider somebody else. You're just going to have, if you keep doing it this way, and I'm just going to say it, you keep doing it this way and willing to put hours of work into something until you get better and better at it, your opportunities are going to overwhelm you where you're going to need other agents to work with you to keep up with the opportunities you're getting. But agents that are in this group that aren't getting the results from open houses, well, you just got to do more of them and plug away and find your avatar. You got to find your avatar open house and do it the right way. Man, Kim, I know Kim had to leave. She's like, it's funny. All right, who I don't know who iPhone 8 is.
iPhone 8.
Yeah, who's iPhone 8?
Hey Sam, okay, so question. Okay, so what are your main questions you would ask? Because you said so when you're converting on the spot, it sounded like you said you either do a pre-approval, a property search, or a showing.
You have to be careful with the pre-approval because most people don't want to talk about their finances right away.
Okay.
So that's really if they bring it up. The most important questions I'm asking, like I gave you the 2 most important lines I have, but I'm really just asking them like, hey, how's the search going? It's like, oh.
Let me interject.
I hadn't thought of, yeah.
Let me interject. First of all, Phil M. Jones is the best in the business in my world right now, learning how to have the right conversations and know what to say, and most importantly, how to be curious and ask questions. So I would tell you, study exactly what to say and exactly what to say for real estate so that you can ask the right questions to get them the results. But to most importantly, to actually find out how you're going to impact them. The second part that Phil talks about is stop asking questions that they don't know the answer to. Stop asking questions that are hard to answer. How about asking questions that they know the answer to? Like, where do you live right now? Like answers like, when are you thinking about buying a home is not an answer that people can answer quickly. So when you're going in, your arsenal of questions, it's got to be easy to answer. Go ahead. What do you got? You got experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking them like, what got you guys excited about making a move? Like it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like you're renting right now, you're a first-time home buyer. I'm also extremely well versed in all the state grants for first-time home buyers. You want to know how to get people's attention? Start talking about free money.
Yeah.
They love that. Pierce with a grand, baby.
Let me circle back to that. And I don't know who the name of the person was that asked the question, but Phil Jones talks about something that I believe Sam is great at. There's 4 cornerstones to great conversations. The first one is to be properly prepared and practiced. You better be prepared for open houses and the conversations you're going to have over and over and over again. Because if you're doing open houses and you don't sound prepared, you're going to look like a fool because you're supposed to be as prepared as you've ever been. So the first thing is to don't do the open houses unless you're prepared to do them the right way. The second thing in open houses, in everything we're doing, is to be curious. Instead of selling and pushing, be curious about the person and genuinely curious. That's the second thing. The third thing is to have a list of questions that you are prepared for, that you know the questions you want to ask, so that you don't have to think about questions. You know what questions you're going to ask. And the fourth thing is people are going to do things for their own reasons, not yours. And if you're doing open houses trying to convince people to hire you or work with you because that benefits you, they ain't going to work with you. But if you actually work with them and have a conversation where they actually, for their own benefit, are going to have a relationship with you, that's when you're going to get it. So it's not scripts. It's not saying this and they say that. It's actually genuinely being curious and having the right questions and being prepared. Sorry, this is what we need to learn.
Yeah, I mean, if I can do it, like, definitely anyone can do it, because I have the least amount of life experience in this group, and I look like I'm 12. So, like, I'm like 5'6" too. Like, I do not look old. I do not give off very old and very experienced. But I'm able to have, a certain level of conversation, and that's where my value is, right? I don't like, and I keep it simple and I do a ton of volume. That's the key.
I keep talking about wanting to get in the DeLorean and talk to myself from 20 years ago, and I feel like I'm kind of talking to someone that should have
Adam
been.
is also 5'6", just
I am
FYI.
5'6".
And you'll
Yeah.
probably get glasses in about
Your
20
hair is gonna
years,
get worse.
Sam.
Yeah, you're right.
You'll end up with 2
I am-
daughters. I'm always telling you, you're going to end up with 2
Yeah.
daughters. Your hair is going to be grayer, and but the thing is, I don't know why I'm saying proud. They're not like my kid's 17, so I'm thinking at a 20-year-old, and I keep thinking I'm proud. I don't need to be proud of someone who's in business doing it better than most people, but I
appreciate it.
but I hope you do. I hope you do. Usually, by the way, it means the older people are the one buying dinner. So when we get out together, the older one's the one has to buy the drink. So you'll benefit from me looking at it that way anyway. But I damn wish I would have had the mindset and the brain that you have to do what you're doing earlier in my career. And you're like, I'm thinking about, it took me 10 years to start doing something the right way that you have done in a year and a half. It means you got probably pretty awesome parents, I hope. I don't even know this, but you got someone in your life mentoring you. So let's talk about those people. I want you to do that before we leave. Talk about who are the people you follow that you learn from that are your people.
That was really the key. And also listening to those people. Yes, so step 1, find the person. Step 2, listen and implement what they tell you to do, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and money, right? My coach is Payson Robertson. He just turned 25. He runs a 40-person team in Palm Springs, California, and they're selling $100 million a year, right? So that's the level I want to be at. That's the level I'm striving to get to. I also have a fantastic, mentor right now who's my team lead. His name's Rob Lawrence, and I'm extremely grateful for him. And he really took me under his wing, and I just simply surrounded myself by the best of the best, and I listened to every single thing they told me to do, and then I did it, and believe it or not, it worked. I'm always surprised with you. It's like, what?
What about books? Tell me, I know that, man.
Okay.
We already got number 1. Think about this, everybody. How old? Tell everybody. Tell the first book that we talked about today, and tell them how old you are.
The first book was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that when I was like 15 or 16. That's the book that changed my life. Like, and it's so easy to read. I mean,
Jackie, hear this. We got to get the girls to read this, but I don't know how it's making me long.
You got to read it, and like. It was so powerful to me that I've actually bought that book for a lot of people and I've handed it to them. No other book has made me do that. That book made me do it. So Rich Dad Poor Dad was great. you know, if you want to get really good at like learning how to work with people too, I think How to Win Friends and Influence People, phenomenal read. Um, yeah, and like you can like smiling at people like I talked about. That's in the book. Like there's a lot of parallels you can draw to what I'm saying and what's in the book because I follow it. Um, you know, I'm a big fan of Alex Ramosi, $100 million leads. Um, I would say the compound effect. The compound effect is really real. The first 4 months, I ate crap. I didn't make any money. Like, yeah,
Dude,
it took
I
a
gotta
little
tell
bit.
you, I was 25 years old.
Yeah.
I went to one of my first real estate events in my entire life, and I got to hear Darren Hardy give the keynote speech, and I waited in line for like 4 hours to get a picture in a horrible suit that I should never have been wearing with Darren Hardy and the compound effect. I love that you're talking about that book because it's not just real estate. That's about way bigger than just real estate.
Yeah, obviously, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Read that book a
There
few
you go. Got to
times.
do that. Yeah, yeah.
Phenomenal. I think the most important book you can read is Rich Dad Poor Dad. You should read it.
All
I don't
right.
know what, like, I could reach out through the screen and shake off everyone. Like, please read that book because I guarantee you, you will end your life way more financially successful if you just read that book.
Are there any more questions for this young man before I actually respect his time just a little bit by realizing that he probably should get back to something other than
We're good.
right now?
I have a quick question about the sign-in sheet. It's
Yes.
just your contact information and their agent. That's all, nothing else.
Yeah, name, phone number, email, agent name. I've tried it without a sign-in sheet. Tried it with different sign-in sheets. I mean, it's about keeping it simple.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think like, but yeah, that's it.
By the way, Endless Gaming, we're going to get an email that goes out after this session by Friday that will literally give all the notes and all of the resources that that he spoke about. So you're not going to have to remember anything. We're going to get all of this to you guys at some point by the end of the week. You'll get all the notes and all the recording. All right, we got to end with this. How do they follow you? How do they find you? You got to at least press how these people can get in touch with you and find you. So it's following you on Instagram, following you on TikTok. Where else do they find you?
I mean, that's it.
You didn't
Instagram,
say
TikTok,
Facebook, buddy.
Facebook.
That's what you didn't say
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, my
You're doing
bad.
everything.
Facebook. Yeah, you
I
can
saw
also
you on
find me.
LinkedIn too.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I barely check LinkedIn, but
Nobody
500
does.
plus connections. So we're up top there. You know, I think the most popular is actually the TikTok account. I have like 15. No, I have like 13,000 followers on TikTok or something stupid like that.
Well, that's because you put a genuine message out and you're willing to put the hard work in. And some of these
Yeah.
people would rather watch you do the hard work, sometimes do
Yeah.
it themselves. So
You guys don't have to go sit 100, you know, but in 100 days, you can go sit like 4 a week. Your business should explode if you do that. Like
For a
Yeah.
week, yeah.
4 to 6 a week.
but
Try
if
to
you
go for
think about
6.
it,
You'll get 4.
there's people that go to work every 9-10 hour jobs a day and they're working hard. And
Yeah.
we're in the state talking about how it would be too overwhelming to do 4 open houses a week when in reality, is it 8 hours, 10 hours? How much hours are you spending and what kind of results can you get for the dollar you're making per hour in our business? All right, I'm going to let you go, bud, because I know if there's no other questions, I want to make sure I give you your time. From my perspective, everybody follow me on Instagram, not just him, follow me too. I'm going to shamelessly plug that I want to make sure that
true.
I stay in touch with everybody. I promise you, I'm commenting on everything. I'm literally responding, and I want to be here for all of you guys to bring all of us together, to bring people like Sam, and then Mike Flatley is going to join us. And what Kim and I are doing is finding people around this country that can make us all better. So share this group. Anytime we send an email out, send it to everybody in your world. It doesn't matter. This is not limited to you. I want us to grow this group and have people joining us. And then on a separate note, the Buyer Agency Pro group that I'm doing, we're meeting 12 times a month. And we're talking about buyer agency. We're meeting 3 times a week. And the group is literally as easy as it could possibly ever be to get into. So if you're interested in learning about how we actually talk about working with buyers, how we get more job interviews, how we actually convert those job interviews to opportunities, and then convert real estate to referrals and repeat business for buyers, talk to me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Brother, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This was fun.
Sam, you're awesome.
I love
Good
that
job.
we can say thank you to each other because you genuinely, I hope that you found value for yourself in doing it. But if we create win-win scenarios,
I love to talk.
It's going to work. I love
Thank
to
you,
talk.
Sam.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye and sign off and give Sam the time to go to his night. If you ever need to get in touch with either of us, we'll get you our information. All right. Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.